Hello and welcome to another episode of Tap Time, brought to you by P3 Performance. I am Sports Psych Mike. Today we're going to talk about the importance of recognizing and refuting common sports psychology myths and how you should address them prior to implementing a mental skills training program. When we speak to coaches around the United States or watch interviews that are on ESPN or read them on the internet, often it seems like the coaches after a loss are going to give interviews that mention how the game was lost due to some kind of a mental aspect. It could be a lack of focus, mental toughness, confidence, etc. Athletes and coaches understand the importance of physical, technical, and tactical training. Most would agree on the importance of mental training. However, few seem to spend any time on a mental skills training program. Absolutely amazes me how few coaches actually train the mind. Well, at P3 Performance, we're on a mission to help coaches learn how to integrate mental skills into their practices so that it becomes a part of the whole person approach for player enhancement. At P3 Performance, we also use evidence-based results from positive and military psychology to enhance performance while increasing resilience. This is often referred to as mental toughness. Gould and Eklund wrote a pretty good article in a book called Essential Readings in Sport and Exercise Psychology. The book is written by Smith and Bar-Eli. It was published in 2007. This is about the factors and conditions that influence peak performance. Part of what they discussed was the importance of recognizing and refuting common sports psychology myths, how they should be addressed prior to implementing a mental skills training program. So today we're going to address some of these myths. We're going to talk about what sports psychology is, what it is not, and how sports psychology can enhance you as a coach and your athlete's performance as well. Myth number 1, sports psychology consultants only work with problem or sick athletes. Well, at P3 Performance, we don't treat, we don't diagnose. What we do is we use sport, positive, and military psychology, the proven techniques from this research, and we utilize those to enhance the athlete's performance. We want to help individuals tap into their ability to work hard and respond resiliently to failure and adversity. We want to tap into the inner quality of an athlete, that which enables the individuals to work hard, stick to their long-term passions, and ultimately stick to their goals. P3 Performance Mental Consultant is very much like a coach. Think of them as a mental coach, except we specialize in the mental aspects of performance. Most of us have master's degrees or higher in sports psychology or a related field. We work with athletes at all levels, from recreation through Olympic athletes as well as professional athletes. And we do this by teaching a systematic method for achieving optimal performance through the repeated practice of mental skills. Myth number 2, sports psychology consultants focus only on elite athletes' concerns. False. These are life skills. We work with athletes of all ages, all levels. We also have a really strong belief that younger athletes desperately need a mental skills training program. Just look around. Look at the problems that our young athletes are facing today. Sports psychology skills are simply life skills that are valuable not only on the field, but off the field as well. Sport, business, or life. Number 3, sports psychology professionals will cause revolutionary changes in sports. While a good mental skills coach can assist athletes to optimize their performance, they won't radically change sport. If you look at consistent coaches throughout history, they tend to focus on the mind. They also tend to cultivate a culture of being fully present and process-oriented. You listen to the Bill Belichicks of the world. They talk about doing your job. This isn't a revolutionary mind shift. This has been around for a really long time, and the really effective coaches, the ones that are consistent throughout time, use this. Many are fairly good at using pieces of mental skills training throughout the lower levels, but few are actually utilizing a trained and experienced sports psychology professional where it will allow you to reinforce many of the things both coaches and athletes may already be doing. This way you can put a language and a logic to the skills. You can provide a systematic training or program for integrating mental skills into your sessions. And it's also going to be backed by science and a few decades of experience that we carry at P3 Performance. Myth number 4, there is a magic pill or a quick fix. Often, coaches reach out to us, or athletes or parents reach out to us when the problem has already manifested in some kind of a behavior that is easily seen or displayed. These athletes and coaches sometimes expect easy or quick solutions to what may or may not be difficult problems. Something along the lines of, I've lost my confidence, or they might mention that this player is so nervous, I can literally visibly see him shaking on the mound. Could come in a statement of, teach me how to use imagery and teach me today. Well, it doesn't happen that fast. So understanding that we do live in a fast food society, or we need the instant gratification today. Just as in a physical training program, though, mental skills must be practiced on a regular basis and through some kind of a systematic training plan. And again, we can help you with that. Myth number 5, sports psychology is not useful. Wow. I think Henry Ford said it right. Believe it will work or believe it will not. You are probably right. So science basically is going to say that this myth is just pure poppycock. There's substantial research in scholarly journals, as well as thousands of anecdotal reports from athletes and coaches stating how sports psychology can and is having a positive effect. It assists those who truly want to achieve high performance. And I think the key is it assists those who truly want to achieve high performance. Everything else is just excuses. So if you want to get better, sports psychology is one of the performance enhancements that you can legally use to make yourself a more well-rounded athlete, and not just in athletics. Sports psychology skills are life skills that are valuable in sport, business, and life. Myth number 6, psychological skills are inherited characteristics, much like being tall or short. Man, no, these are learned behaviors. Leadership is not a natural thing. It is learned somewhere along the way. It is picked up from parents, coaches, playgrounds, schools, movies, whatever else is in the athlete's environment. The skills that they have today are typically learned behaviors that they absorbed. Many athletes have the misconception that they cannot do anything about their psychological skills. This is false. You can indeed. Worse, some sports announcers, such as Chris Collinsworth in the NFL playoffs last year, they perpetuate this kind of mentality by making comments such as, you just can't train for the pressure of a 6-foot putt at the Masters. Bull. You certainly can. You can learn pressure as your perception of an event. I've also heard other coaches go on record that they train mental toughness by pushing athletes hard physically in practice, and then they learn suddenly how to be mentally tough. That is what we call survival of the fittest. It is old school. It is the way I was raised in the Marine Corps and growing up. But due to the science and the research that takes place, we know that there's a lot of benefit in teaching an athlete. They always have more to give, and it can contribute to mental toughness, but that's not how you effectively teach the skills of mental toughness. Coaches or parents often also I hear them screaming, just relax, or pay attention. Or maybe it's, you just need to be more confident when you play. You know what? What the heck do any of that or those statements mean? How exactly is an athlete supposed to take those little nuggets of wisdom and learn how to actually implement or practice those various skills? Because relaxation is a skill, attention is a skill, and believe it or not, confidence is actually a skill that can also be enhanced. These are skills that we know through a systematic process can be learned and can be enhanced under the right mental coach. It's not as simple as stating the coaches or athletes don't believe in these mental skills. I find that almost all do believe in mental skills training with varying degrees. It's just that most coaches and athletes, actually, let's include parents, they simply lack the knowledge about how to develop these psychological skills in a systematic method. Take a look at the bottom of this slide, the authors that we have listed. Many of them are from the 80s, And basically, that's when sports psychology really has started to pick up steam in the United States. So these particular authors interviewed hundreds, actually thousands of elite level coaches and elite level athletes, and they came up with this list of items where they were interviewing the successful athletes versus the less successful athletes. These particular mental skills are at the forefront. So successful athletes had higher levels of self-confidence, they had better concentration, they tended to be more task-oriented with their thoughts, they were more positive with their thoughts in general, they used imagery a lot more often. The successful athletes were able to actually visualize success and see it in their mind. They tended to be more determined, displayed more commitment, led to more motivation, and the successful athletes in general exhibited less anxiety. Every single one of those bullet points is a skill that can be taught and has been taught effectively with a lot of evidence and empirical research to athletes and soldiers throughout the past couple of decades. This is a program that we are very familiar with, and at P3 Performance we have 90 plus years of experience teaching these in a systematic manner to soldiers and athletes and people, individuals in business, sport, or life. We can do this for you as well. Mental skills training is just like physical skills training. Physical strength is developed when the body's pushed to fatigue. In essence, you're going to break down the muscle for growth. No one becomes better unless they overload for strength and practice with deliberate purpose or with intent. A good or an effective sports psychology training program shouldn't be separate from the other sports sciences or from the physical, technical, or tactical training. It should be integrated as part of a comprehensive whole person approach to performance enhancement. The athlete, the coach, the sports psychology consultant, or the mental coach should all work together to create a culture of elite performance. An integrated sports science team working together to assist both the coach and the athlete in daily training and with a routine that works best for them. This is the absolute best approach for facilitating excellence in the individual as well as with a team, or a business for that matter. We would also strongly suggest that the parents be involved as part of the process, but that really is a lesson for another day. If the athletes systematically practice, they can develop these skills. You don't know how to implement or integrate a true mental skills training program, that's fine. That's what we do, so give us a call and we can help you out. Here's a quick recap. Sports psychology program or a mental skills training program works with athletes of all levels and should be implemented as early as possible. It's not going to cause any revolutionary changes in the sport because honestly we're not teaching rocket science and anything really new. We're fine-tuning the skills that we have learned over time. Sports psychology has been proven to be useful. It is not something that you're born with. These are skills that can be trained, but it must be implemented just like physical training. You need to push your mind and strengthen it with a good, clear mental skills training program. The best way to implement this is train the trainer scenario where you can come in and bring in a company like P3 Performance and we're going to train your coaches. Then we're going to train your athletes with your coaches next to us so that they can understand the lens that we have when we're training mental skills program. In addition, we would strongly suggest that you also train your parents so that they understand what a growth mindset is and the power of the words that they use before and after a game or during practices can either lift their child up or unduly put pressure on them without them even being aware of it. Last, ask us how we can enhance your performance and team communication with the PI behavioral assessment. This is analytical evidence to be able to understand the drives that lead to display needs that are displayed in the behaviors of you and or your athletes. Check us out at p3perf.com, or you can feel free to email us at mike@sportspsychmyths.com. You can also go to SportPsychMyth on Facebook. Want to know more? Check us out on Facebook at sportspsychmyths.com, where you can get your mental skills workbook, or feel free to go to p3perf.com. Thanks for joining us for this episode of TAPTime, and we look forward to seeing you next time.